Tyler Reddick came into Sonoma sitting at the top of the NASCAR Cup Series standings. He had the points lead, he had momentum, and he had every reason to believe this weekend would go his way. Then his car broke. He fell multiple laps down. He finished last. And just like that, Denny Hamlin took the points lead by a single point. One race, one mechanical failure. Everything changed. Let's start with where things stood before Sonoma even began. Tyler Reddick had been the story of the 2026 season. He was in front, not by a huge margin, but he was in front, and that matters in NASCAR because every single point counts when you are racing toward a championship. He walked into Sonoma as the leader. That is a big deal. Sonoma is a road course, and road courses are unpredictable. Anything can happen. And this weekend, the worst possible thing did. Stage 1 ended, and everything was still manageable. Reddick had survived it. He was in the race, still competing, still in position to put together a solid day. After Stage 1, the mechanical problem hit. We do not have a confirmed part name yet, but the car failed. That is not a small thing in NASCAR. When your car breaks down on a road course like Sonoma, there is no easy fix. You go to the garage, the crew works on it, and while they are working, the field keeps racing. Every lap that passes without you on track is another lap you fall further behind. Sonoma is not a short race. There are 110 laps around that road course in Sonoma County, California. Every turn, every elevation change, every brake zone matters. It is one of the most demanding tracks on the Cup schedule. Teams spend the entire offseason studying it, building setups specific to it, trying to find tenths of a second in corners that only come around once a year. When you go to the garage at Sonoma mid-race, you are not just losing time. You are losing all of that preparation, all of that work from the shop, from the simulator, from the test days. It disappears the moment the car stops working. Reddick fell multiple laps down. Think about what that means. Falling multiple laps down is almost impossible to recover from. You are not just behind the leader. You are a full lap, sometimes 2 laps, behind the entire field. Every car ahead of you is going to have to pass you just for the scoring to make sense. You are, for all practical purposes, racing for nothing. You are just trying to finish, and that is exactly what happened. Tyler Reddick finished last. The driver who started the race as the Cup Series points leader finished dead last at Sonoma. That is the kind of result that changes a season, not just a race, a season. Now here is the part that really stings. Reddick still earned the fastest lap bonus point during the race. Even when everything was falling apart, even when his day was already done in terms of position, his car at some point turned the fastest lap on the track. Denny Hamlin is now the Cup Series points leader by 1 point over Tyler Reddick. 1 single point in NASCAR. 1 point is nothing and everything at the same time. 1 bad pit stop, 1 caution at the wrong moment, 1 mechanical failure at Sonoma. That is 1 point gone. And right now, Reddick is staring at a 1 point deficit that was entirely built from a car that broke when he needed it most. Let's talk about what this means for Denny Hamlin. Because this is not a story about 1 driver. This is a story about 2. Hamlin has been fighting all season. He is one of the most experienced drivers in the sport, and he knows better than almost anyone what a championship run looks like. He has come close before, multiple times. He has never won the title. That fact is one of the most talked about stories in NASCAR, and it hangs over everything he does. Every race, every point, every position is 1 step closer to ending that conversation for good or watching it get louder. At Sonoma, Hamlin did what he had to do. He did not need to win the race. He just needed Reddick to have a bad day. And Reddick had the worst possible day. The points lead changed hands because of it, and now Hamlin holds the top spot by the smallest margin possible. Remember the title. Tyler Reddick's Sonoma disaster just changed everything. That is not an overstatement. Here is why. The momentum shift in a NASCAR season is real. When you are the points leader and you suffer a last place finish, the rest of the field notices. Your team notices. You notice. The psychological pressure is different when you go from leading to trailing, even by 1 point. You start making decisions based on desperation instead of confidence. And in a sport where the margins are this small, desperate decisions get you in trouble. Reddick's team has to regroup fast. The next race comes quickly in NASCAR. There is no week to sit and feel sorry about Sonoma. You pack up, you load the hauler, and you go to the next track. Whatever happened in that garage at Sonoma, whatever broke and why, they have to fix it, understand it, and make sure it never happens again. Because if it does, 1 point becomes 5, 5 becomes 10, and 10 becomes a gap that is very hard to close in the second half of a season. Here is the cliffhanger sitting inside all of this. Reddick still earned that fastest lap point at Sonoma. Think about that for a second. Even while multiple laps down, even while his race was completely ruined, his car was still fast enough to turn the quickest lap of the day. That tells you something important about the equipment. The 45 car is not slow. It is not broken in terms of raw speed. Something failed, but the speed was still there. That means when the car is right, Reddick is dangerous. And Hamlin knows it. The 1 point lead Hamlin now holds is not comfortable. It is not a cushion. It is a razor's edge. One race, one bad pit, one unexpected caution, and Reddick is right back on top. The championship is not decided, not even close. What happened at Sonoma was a disaster for Reddick, but it was not a knockout punch. Or was it? That is the question that will haunt Reddick's team between now and the next race. In NASCAR, momentum is everything. The driver who is leading the points in the second half of the season usually has their machine running at its best. They are locked into a rhythm. Their team is sharp, and everything is clicking. Reddick had all of that going into Sonoma, and Sonoma took it away in one afternoon. The wins Reddick piled up earlier this season gave him the points lead. Those wins are not gone. The performance is still there. But in points racing, a last-place finish creates a hole that takes multiple strong results to fill. He cannot just win next week and assume everything is back to normal. Hamlin will be right there, scoring consistently, and one mistake from Reddick turns a 1 point gap into a 10-point gap very quickly. And here is one more thing worth thinking about. Denny Hamlin winning the championship would be one of the biggest stories NASCAR has produced in years. He is already a Hall of Fame level driver in terms of race wins and ability, but titles are what separate good from legendary in this sport. If Hamlin holds on and wins the Cup this season, it changes how people talk about his career forever. The conversation stops being about what he never won and starts being about everything he did. That raises the stakes on every single race from here out. Reddick is not just racing for a championship. He is, in some ways, racing to prevent one of the most meaningful stories in NASCAR from being written by someone else. The Sonoma disaster gave Hamlin exactly the opening he needed. 1 point, one race, one broken car. And now the entire championship picture has flipped. Tyler Reddick went to Sonoma as the leader. He left last on the board and last on the finishing order.